Good morning, folks. Thanks, Ray, for that introduction. And we want to thank everybody for just taking the time out to be in compliance. Troy and I are here to present a new tool or a new toy called NDC Reservation. So what we're going to do is speak just briefly about who should register and when, and some of the benefits of that. And then during the middle of the presentation, Troy will just give you a live demo, obviously through CDER Direct, to help folks go through the NDC reservation process. So who should reserve an NDC? Why did we add this new toy or new tool in our process? And it's basically for companies that have products that are in formal development. You want to put labels out there and you want to get things rolling. This is a tool that you can use when you're pre-printing labels, if indeed you're going to be placing the NDC on the labeling. Another aspect of it is for our contract manufacturers. Contract manufacturers often list on behalf of the private label distributors. And so, in turn, what happens a lot of times is that a lot of the CMOs don't know the NDCs that have already been used by the private label distributors. So this is a mechanism for companies to go ahead and assign a number or reserve an NDC, and to validate that that number has already been or is made available. Now, another aspect of that as well, doing the reservation, would be if a company is uncertain, totally uncertain of some of the final aspects of that product, like the physical characteristics, and to the end, whether or not that product is going to be marketed. These are critical aspects of the NDC reservations of companies or firms that would use this tool to reserve an NDC. So when should you reserve an NDC? Obviously, as I stated, if you're putting that NDC on the labeling, obviously prior to the final approval of that labeling, and then more times than not before the final printing. Several times, and I've as my bio states, I've been doing this for quite some time. We've run into situations where companies have printed a ton of labels, and they come to find out that something has gone wrong. Either there's a mixed configuration, or they've assigned a number that has already been listed or linked to another product. And what I mean by mixed configuration, there are three options for configuration using that 10-digit NDC: 442, 532, and 541. Once you've assigned a specific configuration to a labeler code, the products after that need to be consistent in choosing one of those NDC configurations. And some of the staff will go over this later in some of the presentations when we get into the product listing and things of that nature. Then finally, you don't have to, the NDC does not need to be, your NDC reservation should be reserved to a product that's close to marketing. We're saying within 2 years. So if you've got a product that's being launched 5 years out, then NDC reservation is not the mechanism that you should use. Obviously, some of the benefits, you can use this for your pre-launch certifications and things of that nature. It gives you a peace of mind when assigning an NDC. It allows you to obviously formalize some of your labeling to place the NDC there. You have the peace of mind that you have not already used an NDC that is in commercial distribution or that has been assigned to another product. And then once accepted, you have 2 years to switch that over into a valid NDC, one that's a product that is being commercially distributed and used for the consumer. Finally, we definitely want to prevent duplicates. duplicate NDCs that are out there. This addresses some of the formatting, as I mentioned before, dealing with the configuration. Some of the issues that allow us to keep some of that information completed and useful. And then finally, your contract manufacturers can reserve the NDCs for their PLDs. This is critical for when going forward, because a lot of the CMOs, as we mentioned, do not maintain an inventory of all of the NDCs that are currently being marketed for a PLD. Many of the PLDs use several different contract manufacturers to produce their products, as many of you may or may not know. And so what has constantly happened in the past, and definitely in the paper system, a lot of the companies do not know what NDCs are available to them. And so this NDC reservation will eliminate that issue and cause us to have a ton less gray hairs as I have in my beard. So now I'm going to turn this over to Troy Cu. He's going to give you the live demo and show you specifically how to facilitate the NDC reservation.
Thank you, David. Before I start the live demo, I want to provide you with some tip regarding to the NDC reservation, because I think it's important that you should have and know the requirement before you submit the SBIA file. So let's take a look at the tip here. The label code. So the label code included in the reservation SBL should be the label code that is assigned by the FDA. So tip 2, the NDC reservation for the kit product is currently not available. This feature is anticipated to be available in the near future. We will notify you when it's become available. Last but not least, the requirement data element for the NDC reservation. This is the must-have data. If you miss any of this information, you're not going to be able to successfully submit your SBL file. So the label name, label DUNS, NDC product code, non-proprietary name, dosage form, and at least one active ingredient. So now I'm going to show you how to create an NDC reservation. I'm going to sit down here. So mine's going to be a little bit different, Reggie, because I'm actually going to type it in because I know how to use the keyboard. So for NDC reservation, you go to product listing and certification. And from there, create new. Now you have two options, create new or import the existing file, but we don't have any file to import, so we're going to create new. For the doc type, I'm going to select NDC reservation. For the product type, these are all your options, but I'm going to do the OTC drug label. For those who have submitted the product listing before, this would be an easy process for you because it's very minimum data required. So here in the label of detail, there's two requirement data. So I'm just going to make up something here. Label of name. Then the label of done. This is the DUNS number that associate with your label of code. It's a 9-digit number. Right. Next, I'm going to add my first product. I have to provide the NDC product code. So 1, 2, 3, 4. my product codes could be 5678. Since proprietary name is not a required field, so I'm going to skip that. And I'm going to have to provide a non-proprietary name. Then my dosage form, it's the toothpaste, gels. And those administrations going to be the dentals. We need to fill in the source NDC, marketing status should be new. The result until date, you have up to 2 years. So I'm going to max it out 2 years from today. It's going to be 22nd. And I do have to add one active ingredient. Again, it's going to make up some data here. You're not sure what these field mean. Don't worry, there will be a product listing session after this. They will go over with you more in detail. One type is going to be 48 basics, and then the unit name is going to be sodium. And the strength is going to be, I don't know, 2.5. In G, I'm just going to check the moiety same ingredient. Say the ingredient. Now that's all the requirement fields. I'm just going to say the products. Now they have one product added. You can have a multiple NDC reservation in the same single SBL file as long as you're using the same label of code. Okay, so I'm going to show you how to add the second product. To add the second product, simply click on Add Products. Again, you have to provide an NDC number, so the label codes have to be the same. So it'll be 1, 2, 3, 4. And then your product codes have to be different. So it'll be 8. Non-proprietary name, let's do something different here. Sorry. With the dose form, I'm going to choose tablet. And since it's a tablet, it'll be oral. Again, the marketing status should be new. Third days, 2 years from today, if you were submitted today. I need to add one more active ingredient. Ingredient type, I'm going to select ingredient is base of a strength. The name is going to be one. Strength is going to be 3.5. E. Right. I'm going to mark the same as ingredient. Say my ingredient. Say the products. Now I have 2 products. If you need to add more, you can. Just all you have to do is add product and then follow the same step. If you're done, go ahead and hit the submit. I'm not going to do that because this is a test environment. It's not going to go anywhere. So, assuming everything go fine, and then come back with acceptance status. Next step, I'm going to show you how to convert it to listing and how to cancel an NDC reservation. So, you want to go to the NDC reservation SBL file. Right now, you're in a view mode, meaning you can't make any change right now. So you have to click on the create new version. Now let's open up everything. So let's say that you want only to convert one of them to listing, then cancel the other one because you want to use a different NDC for it. Okay, so this is a two-step process. Okay? First, you have to go to the product that you want to cancel. So let's say I want to cancel the first one. All you have to do it without changing any data in the data element, go to the marketing status, change from reserve to cancel. Okay, and hit save products. This is very important step. You have to hit the submit SBL file. Okay. After you submit SBL file, come back, everything's successful, and you follow the step 2. I'm going to delete this. So the step 2 is convert to a listing. Again, you have to create a new version. Now I only have one product left. Okay. Convert it to listing. Again, go into the products. Change from reserved to active. And save the products. Once you save the products, you are currently in the listing mode, meaning there's a lot of more requirement field that you have to build it in. For example, the content of label, it wasn't there before. Now you have to provide who's making the drugs, the sample information. In the product, you have to provide proprietary name and packaging and all that stuff. Once you provide all the requirement information, save products. If you're ready to submit, go ahead and hit the submit SBL. You're done. Okay. That is all I have. At this time, I'm going to turn it over to David to close out with some tips.
So going forward with some of the tips, number one, obviously the NDC has to be under the same labeler code as Pui went over, the labeler code assignment. So the NDC reservation for a specific product obviously has to be under the same labeler code. The SBL reserve file has to be under that. Once accepted, keep in mind this is a proposed NDC that's reserved, okay? And then keep in mind the time frame, as we mentioned, as Troy put in there, it's only for 2 years. So obviously you don't want to reserve an NDC for a product that's not going to be marketed for 10 years. The NDC is reserved at the product level. This is paramount that you maintain that it's reserved at the product level. I believe the package code information is not included. Am I correct? So this product code level obviously is the labeler code and product code. Product code obviously conforms to a specific formulation, meaning the active ingredient and the amount, and, to a certain degree the dosage form. And then there's no package code information that is assigned in the reservation. Sorry. And so another key component of this is that there's no additional data that's required for the reservation. As Troy alluded to in the live demo, there's a lot of information that is excluded from this because keep in mind, the sole purpose of this is to reserve an NDC. Some further tips, obviously, the marketing status of all reserved NDCs will either come up as new or reserved. To convert the NDC reservation from an SBL to a listing SBL, you have to change that reserve marketing or the reserve status to active. And then obviously you have to provide the rest of the listing information to complete that listing. Keep in mind there's a lot of things that are missing in beyond the package information. There's labeling that has to be submitted along with that as well. Once that reserve NDC is no longer needed, then you should cancel that reserved NDC. As long as you've not put it into an active status, you deem that you've used it, and you need to cancel it. And then obviously to cancel it, you're changing the marketing status once again from reserve to cancel. That's in there as well. On the day that you put in that cancellation, change that status, the effective date for that is the actual date that you put in. So it's a cancellation effective immediately. The reserve NDC will not be available for other products, and this was one of the sole purposes of providing the reservation, so that there's no confusion between products. And so once that's been alleviated, it's not listed, it can't be used for other products. NDC reservation cannot be submitted for an NDC which has already been used. So if you've got a ton of products out there that have already been listed under their own individual NDCs, the reservations can't supersede the numbers that have already been assigned. And then obviously a previously reserved NDC becomes available once it's been canceled. Keep in mind that status has to be changed to cancel. So one of the questions that comes up is, what's the difference between using the NDC reservation versus just extending a marketing start date? A lot of companies will put a future marketing date or start date out there. Well, as you can see, there are several elements that are not required for the NDC reservation. And beyond that, the NDC reservation is restricted to 2 years. So we're anticipating if you're reserving an NDC, at that 2-year mark, you're going to make a determination as to whether or not you're going to use that NDC for an active listing or that you're going to cancel it. So keep that in mind. Whereas when you've already listed a product with a start marketing date, that NDC is held for that product until it's been discontinued. So that is the biggest difference between the two. So that NDC, if you're using a future marketing date for a product, it is deemed listed. It is deemed, in our mind, by the agency standpoint, it is in commercial distribution. Okay? And then obviously you have the flexibility with a reservation to do some of your pre-launch planning for a drug product or products that are in development. And so you use that future marketing date and the product's listed, you can't cancel that, whereas the NDC gives you that option of canceling. And as I mentioned before, a canceled NDC can be assigned to other products. This is solely for NDC reservation, and it can be used by, obviously, your contract manufacturers for other products. And then, as I harp on this point, you don't have to use as much information for an NDC reservation versus a complete listing. So, going forward, we have references here and online for the Duralist webpage and the actual toolkit that gives you some helpful hints. It goes over some of the things that Troy went through. Some of the helpful links are there, as well as a link to the National Drug Code. Products that are formally listed and are in commercial distribution are referenced here on the National Drug Code directory. And there's a link there for folks to reference at any point.
All right, and with that, thank you, David and Troy. Go ahead and take a seat there. You're going to